Hello everyone. Good evening. So today we'll start with the first module. So for everyone, it's audible, right?
Raju cricket.
Yes. Somebody wants to tell something, please you can convey it. So for everyone, the first slide is visible now, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes. Okay, it is with the full screen or it's showing as same as like yesterday.
It is full screen, sir.
Okay, right. Thank you. So yesterday, just we have seen about the introduction part of the module 1 to module 5. So these are the contents in module 1. It starts with cement. These are the main ingredients while preparing a concrete. First one is with cement and then fine aggregate and then coarse aggregate and then water. Apart from this, we can add mineral admixtures and chemical admixtures. They are optional. And here in cement, we are going to study about the cement manufacturing process. They are classified as so. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, I got disconnected with the internet connection. Okay, the first slide is visible now, right? Concrete ingredients. Can somebody please, so that I can go ahead. So is it visible now? Can somebody please answer?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. Because every time I need to ask, we won't come to know at how it is going to visible to the students. Please answer whenever I ask those questions without any hesitation. Okay. So the next part, that is steps to reduce the carbon footprint, and then the different chemical compositions and the main importance of those chemical compositions in cement, then hydration of cement, types of cement, testing of cements, and then fine aggregate, coarse aggregate will be there, and then chemical admixtures, mineral admixtures. So these are the contents of module 1. In that, first we'll start with cement. So the basic history about the cement, that where exactly we start using this cementitious material in our country. So here the history about the cementitious material is as old as the history of engineering constructions. You have seen so many constructed buildings from so many years back. For example, in Egyptian countries and all, you have seen the pyramids. So even while constructing of those pyramids, they have used this cementitious material. So the cement is having that much back history, so that from those time onwards only we start using this cement in the construction field. Okay, and it is believed that the early Egyptians mostly used cementing materials, that is obtained by burning the gypsum. So in various countries, they have started using this cementitious materials in various forms. You can take an example, that is in Egyptians, they have started using the cementitious material just by burning the gypsum. So gypsum is a material, like it is a binding material. So they have started heating or burning of that gypsum, and whatever the product will get generate, they have started using that product as cementitious material. And here a particular analysis of mortar from the Great Pyramid that showed that it is contained 81.5 percentage of calcium sulfate, that is CaSO4, and then only 9.5% of carbonate, that is CO3. So these are the chemicals which are found after analyzing of that mortar which is used in the Great Pyramids. So you can see those structures in Egyptian countries. So they have taken a small part of the mortar. Mortar is nothing but the binding material which can be used between two building blocks. Okay, so they have taken that binding materials and they have done certain analysis on those materials. I mean on those mortars, and then they have concluded that consisting of 81.5% of calcium silicate and then only 9.5% of carbonate. Okay, and here the Roman builders, they have used the volcanic tuff. So volcanic tuff is nothing but after the volcano formation from the several hills and all, so whatever it will get, I mean it will comes out in the form of hard rock. So that one we can call it as volcanic tuff, and it is found near Pozzoli, a city name. It is actually, it is a village name, and that is near Mount Vesuvius in Italy. So it's like just a village name, and from that particular village they have taken this raw material, that is volcanic tuff or ash, and they have concluded that which is mainly containing the siliceous material. So siliceous materials are nothing but the silica contents which are present in those materials. So whatever I am telling, the chemicals in this, for example, calcium sulfate, carbonate, and these siliceous materials like silica and all. So these are the major chemicals which are found in the cementitious material. So these particular chemicals, they are going to give certain properties on the cement. For example, silica and all, which is going to give certain strength to the cement. So like that, the different chemicals are being used for various applications in the manufacturing of the cement. Okay, and for that name only, I mean whatever the raw material of this what volcanic tuff which is found nearby that Mount Vesuvius in Italy. So by that village name only, we have start using that cement name, that is Pozzolana cement, because it is initially obtained in the village Pozzoli. Okay, so this is a general history about the cement part, and now moving on to the main concept, that is manufacturing of Portland cement. So here, before manufacturing anything, initially you require raw materials. For that raw materials, in the sense, to manufacture a certain products, you need some basic materials, right? So by those basic materials, we'll use certain process and then we'll bring that one to a required product. Okay, so here basic materials are nothing but the raw materials. Okay, so here the raw materials which are required for this manufacturing of the Portland cement are calcareous materials. So calcareous materials are nothing but calcareous. Why this word has been comes means calcareous, in the sense that calcium contents which are present in those materials. For example, you can take it as limestone or chalk. So limestone is nothing but usually for pans and all, we will be using that lime part, no, chuna, what we call. So that chuna only we can call it as limestone in the technical word, right? So to manufacture this cement, we require limestone or chalk, and the other raw materials such as argillaceous material such as shale or clay. So these are the two raw materials. So now we can consider two different raw materials. One is calcareous materials such as limestone or chalk, and one more raw material, they are argillaceous material such as shale or clay. Okay, and now the next part is these cement factories are established where these raw materials are available in plenty. So you can see so many cement factories and all. They are going to set a particular factory locations depends upon the availability of these materials. So once they have placed that, I mean start planning to put the cement factories. So the main consideration is that raw materials, it should be available in nearby places. like that they are going to select the location of these cement factories. You can see so many factories nearby Mudol, Jamkandi and all, right? So in that place the raw materials such as this limestone and this shale or clay will be available in plenty of quantity. So for that reason only they are going to place the cement factories nearby to those locations. Okay, and here the process of manufacture of this cement, that is consisting of grinding the raw materials such as argillaceous material and calcareous materials and mixing them in intimately in certain proportions. So depends upon the quality of the material, they are going to consider the proportions. Might be 1 is to 1, 1 is to 2, 1 is to 3, or 3 is to 1. Depends upon the quantity as well as the quality of the material and certain chemical compositions which are present in that raw materials, they are going to fix the proportion. Okay, so depends upon that proportions and the purity of those raw materials, they are going to fix the proportions. And once they fix with the proportions, they are going to mix both the materials, that is limestone as well as this clay, right? So both the raw materials they are going to mix in a certain place, and then they are going to heat that one for 1003 degrees Celsius to 1500 degrees Celsius. So 1300 degrees Celsius to 1500 degree Celsius. Yeah. So it is the temperature where we are going to maintain after mixing those two raw materials. Okay. So here the material sinters and partially fuses to form modular shaped clinker. Modular shaped clinker in the sense the uniform particles which are found after mixing process. So now we are going to study in depth of this manufacturing process, right? So after that, the clinker is cooled and ground to a fine powder with addition of about 3 to 5% of gypsum. So here you can see the main part of the adding additives. Additives are nothing but so after heating of those two raw materials, that is argillaceous material and calcareous materials, up to a 1300 degrees Celsius to 1500 degrees Celsius, after that entire clinker is cooled, we need to add 3 to 5% of gypsum. Okay, and the main reason to add this gypsum is it gives certain binding property between the each molecule of the cement. Okay, the main reasons to add this gypsum is it gives proper binding between all the particles. And here the product formed by using this procedure is Portland cement. So this one we can call it as Portland cement, that is adding of those two raw materials and then heating that one into 13 degrees Celsius to 1500 degrees Celsius, and then adding additives such as gypsum, that is about 3 to 5%. Okay, and here you can see the most important part, the process which includes two process. I mean this entire manufacturing process, it has two different process. First one is wet process and second one is dry process. The main name only indicates that wet and dry. So wet in the sense it consisting of some amount of moisture or water content. Okay, so dry in the sense here you can see the 0% of water or moisture. Okay, the keep this concept in your mind so that it will be helpful while explaining about these two process. So this manufacturing of cement, that is classified in two types. One is wet process and then dry process. Okay, so here this one which is going to depend I mean, these processes which are dependent upon whether the mixing and grinding of raw material is done in wet or dry conditions. So depends upon the climatic conditions also, we are going to decide which one we need to fix, either wet or dry. So with a little change in the above process, we have one more process called semi-dry process. You can see, so here semi-dry process, it's nothing but what here we are going to add certain amount of water to the raw materials. Here we are not going to add any water particles to the raw materials, but here in semi dry process we are going to add little amount of water, that is up to 10 to 14%. Okay, Is it audible to everyone, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Okay. So for many years, the wet process remained popular because the possibility of more accurate control in the mixing of raw materials. The main thing is, even though we are having three different process, that is wet process, dry process, and then semi-dry process, we are going to choose this wet process only. The main reasons to choose this wet process means we'll get the accurate control while mixing these raw materials. Okay, and here the techniques of intimate mixing of raw materials in powder form was not available then. So initially, when we have started manufacturing of the cement, we have used this wet process, and nowadays you can see so many techniques have been adopted in the current era. So most of the cement factories are going with this dry process because basically this wet process is bit costly compared to dry process. I will tell you while explaining the manufacturing process of these two. Okay, and then here the after the certain innovations in the research and all, the dye process gained certain momentum, so that all the factories are started adopting this dry process in their manufacturing process. Okay, and then the dry process requires much less fuel. Okay, so here you can check the main reason to choose this dry process instead of wet process. There in wet process we are having certain amount of moisture content, and we need to drain off that by providing certain heat. So that heat requires certain amount of energy. So that energy either we may get by using coal or some petroleum products, right? But here in dry process you can see nowhere we are going to use to drain off that water content, because we are not going to use water only, right? So we are going to save that particular energy, so which is going to lead the huge difference between the cost of manufacturing process by this wet process and dry process. And here to dry the slurry, we thus require more fuel, wherein wet process. But here in India, the most of the cement practice used the wet process. But recently, a number of factories have been commissioned to employ the dry process, because when we need to concern about environmental aspects also, once we start providing certain amount of heat, it is going to liberate certain amount of carbon dioxide in the nature, so again which is going to harm that entire environment. So we need to concentrate on that also. Wherever we can save that usage of fuel and energy, we need to concentrate more, and we need to try to reduce those concepts in our techniques. Okay, so here within the next few years, most of the cement factories will adopt dry process system only, because which is bit less, I mean less costlier than the wet process. So most of the factories are going to be adopt this dry process system only. Okay, now coming on to the main concept, that is wet process. So in this wet process, just we need to check how the process will get starts. So instead of going to the explanation, just I will explain about this flow charts, so that the things will get clear, and then we'll go back to the explanation part. Okay, so here this is wet process, that consisting of two materials. One is calcareous materials, one is calcareous materials which is provided here, and one more is argillaceous materials, that is clay. So this is also raw material, and this is also raw material. Okay, there are two raw materials we can see in this wet process. One is clay and then limestone. So here clay, first what we need to do, this raw materials of clay will send to the wash mill. So wash mill is nothing but it is a chamber where this entire clay particle which is going to wash thoroughly. So thoroughly in the sense, some of the unwanted particles which may present in the clay particles are removed off from this clay. Okay, and then after the wash mill, they are going to store in storage basins. So this is the first step of clay. This is argillaceous material. And then on other side you can see the limestone. Okay, so these are the calcareous materials. So these limestones are going to be crushed and make that one in finer particle. So finer particle in the sense the which should come in powder form. So like that we need to crush those limestones by using the crusher. Okay, and then we'll shift that one to the storage basin. Okay, so here clay will wash and send to the storage basin, and here limestone which will get crushed and sent to the storage basin. Now the raw materials, both the raw materials are completed the primary stage and stored in storage basin. Okay, so this is the first step. And then here the wet grinding mills to make slurry. We are going to take these materials and even these materials in the sense clay which are stored in storage basins, and then the powder form of these limestones also placed in a particular chamber, and then they will add required amount of water. Okay, depends upon the proportions they are going to add water to these raw materials. Okay, the procedure is clear now. And then this blending of slurry to the correct composition. So blending of slurry in the sense we'll add clay and then limestone, including that water. So they are going to mix that one thoroughly, and to it should form a correct compositions. Means all the paste, whatever it will get generate after adding water to the raw materials, it should be uniform in its nature. And then that entire slurry is nothing but the combination of powder as well as water. So whatever it makes that cement paste, no, I mean that paste form. So that paste form only we can call it as slurry. Okay, so here that slurry which is going to stored at a particular chamber. Okay, storage of corrected slurry. And now this slurry, what we need to do, we need to attach to the rotary kiln. So rotary kiln is nothing but it's like a horizontal rotating chamber. I will show you the image how it looks like. Okay, so that horizontal rotating kiln means chamber. It's like a cylinder in its shape. They are going to attach that entire slurry or that cement, whatever the paste which will get generate by adding those raw materials. So they are going to apply that one to the surface of that rotating kiln. Else you can see here. So this is the rotary kiln. So here they are going to attach on this surface. Okay, so it is in a circular in its shape. Okay, it is circular in its shape. So on entire surface of this rotary kiln they are going to attach this slurry. Okay, so now, and then they are going to provide certain amount of heat to that. So here you can see that rotary kiln is rotating at a speed of 60 rotations for 1 hour. So means for every 1 minute it is going to take one entire circle. So like that it is going to rotate. I will show you one video so that the things will get clear, since from starting till end how the manufacturing process will be there. So but now you can explain, you can understand with the explanation part of this manufacturing process. So after attaching to that surface, they are going to provide certain amount of heat from the exit end, so that with the rotation of that rotary kiln which is going to dry, right? So whatever the slurry which consisting of water, no, so which is going to dry, and then it forms a clinker in the sense slurry is like cement paste, sorry, it is like a paste material. It is having some amount of water. So after providing 1300 degrees Celsius to 1500 degrees Celsius, so which will forms what? Clinker. Okay, so clinker is nothing but the powder form, right? So by using this much of heat, this water will drain off from the slurry and it forms clinker. Okay, and then this clinker which is sent to the ball mill again, it's like a one more chamber where the other materials are going to be add just to mix up those materials. Okay, so here the clinker is already placed in this ball mill, and to this clinker they are going to add 2 to 3% of gypsum. Okay, so the main reason to add this gypsum, it is going to provide certain amount of binding properties within the cement material. Okay, so here in ball mill we are going to add gypsum as well as clinker, and then they are going to make that one with a uniform in its texture, and then they are going to send that one to the cement silo. Cement silo, in the sense, it's like a big chamber where that entire cement powder which is going to store. It's like a storage place. And then with respect to a required weight, they are going to pack these cements with certain amount of quantities of the cement. Okay, so it is since from starting till end how they are going to go with this manufacturing process. So basically you need to understand few concepts: the raw materials, clay, and then limestone. Here limestone which is going to crush and sent to the storage basin, and here lime clay which will get washed because it is containing some amount of impurities and then sent to the storage basin. And here we are going to consider both the raw materials of clay and then limestone, and apart from this we are going to add water also, and then we are going to mix this one thoroughly until to form a proper slurry, and then slurry which is sent to the storage place, and from that storage place it's sent to the rotary kiln. So in that rotary kiln it is going to provide certain amount of heat up to 1300 degrees celsius to 1500 degrees celsius, and because of that heat water content will get evaporate and it forms dry in its states. So once it try convert to the dry form, it makes, I mean, that slurry which is going to convert to the clinker in the sense the powder form, and then powder form of clinker which is again sent to the ball mill. So in that ball mill we are going to add certain amount of gypsum, that is 2 to 3%. Okay, so here clinker as well as gypsum is going to be add in the ball mill, and then they are going to send to the cement silos and then to the packing unit. Okay, the procedure is clear now. Is there any doubt? Which is the question, most asked question in the question paper. Okay, in the exams. Just we'll check the video of this wet process so that this video slide is visible now. Can anyone please?
No, sir.
Not visible.
Yes, sir.
Only slide is visible,
Okay,
sir.
wait.
No, sir.
Okay, that wet process slide is visible, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I will check it out. I will check it out. So now you can see this part, that truck consisting of the raw materials.
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. So we'll watch this video and whatever the process are there, it will get clear. Okay. So initially, okay, initially the limestone, that whatever the calcareous materials are there, so which is considered as the raw materials and which are stored in a particular place, and then which is going to crush. Okay, and which is called the primary crusher, and then which is going to convert to the required size in the primary crusher, and in the secondary crusher which is going to form the powder form. So why we require primary crusher and secondary crusher here? So basically we are going to extract this limestone from the earth surface, and here while we extract from the earth surface might be which is attached to the, I mean, this limestone which may attach with other particles like soil, stones, and all. So in the primary crusher plant, which is going to remove out those unwanted materials, and then which is sent to the primary crusher, secondary crusher, and in the secondary crusher, it turns to the powder form, and which is stored in silos. Silos in the sense the basin, whatever we said, and here the limestone which is getting stored in this chamber. Okay, and here the again the required contents of iron ore, sand, clay, whatever which is required, we can consider these. Okay, so here you have seen clay, that is one more raw material. Okay, so clay is basically which is washed before using that one in the mixing plant. Okay, so now as per the required proportion, we need to take these materials, whatever the ingredients are there, that one we need to consider with the proper proportions. Along with that, here we are going to add water. You can see this mark. Okay, so here in the wet process, we are going to add the known quantities of the water to these raw materials, whatever it will come. So this is the rotating chamber, right? That is the grinding mill, where all the ingredients are going to mix properly, okay, along with this water, and it turns to what? Paste form, that is slurry, what we said. And here you can see the overseased slurry. If something water content is added more to that, and in some cases if it is with the large quantities of the ingredients have been present, that whatever the overseas slurry is there, again it is going to send back through this pipe, so that which is going to mix properly, and then which is sent to again with the same process. And here vibrating screen separators are there. So here if something stones and all by mistakenly it has been reached here, I mean with the hard part of limestones and all, so here which is going to separate these particles at this vibrating screen separator. Okay, and here whatever the fine particles are there, which is sent through this chamber. Now we have added two ingredients, I mean the raw materials, that is clay and limestones, along with that water, so that forms what? Slurry. Okay, so now the slurry is mixed and blended in this chamber, and which is sent to the storage basin. So here whatever the paste form which is formed by adding the water, so that is sent to this particular chamber. And here you can see that rotary kiln. So can everybody see this? This rotary kiln. So after the storage basin here, this particular, can everybody see the video part, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay, thank you. So in this particular chamber, whatever the slurry which is formed by adding raw materials and then water, which is stored here. So this is the rotary kiln. So that entire part which is going to attach to this rotating drum, which actually it should close in its nature, but while explanation part, they have made it section wise. And from this part, they are going to provide certain amount of heat by using various materials, such as by using coal, petroleum products and all. So this heat is how much? 1300 degrees Celsius to 1500 degrees Celsius. Okay, so up to by adding this much amount of heat, this whatever the slurry which is placed in this rotary kiln, so that water particles will get evaporate from this. Okay, so here this entire slurry, that water particles will drained off. You can see here this rotary kiln which is going to rotate. This is the rotating kiln, means it is going to provide equal amount of heat to the all the particles of slurry. So now the slurry is going to convert to the clinker in the sense the powder form. Okay, so here the raw mix kiln burnt to the partial fusion. It's like providing certain amount of heat to this paste. Okay, then paste is converted to the clinker part. And then moving on to the next part. So here I said after providing certain amount of heat, that slurry which is going to form clinker. Okay, so now later it is going to send to the ball mill. Okay, so in this ball mill you can see the gypsum and then the clinker. Actually spelling will just it will get changes. It is actually clinker. Okay, so here they have made the clinker. It is okay, no need to worry about the spelling. It's like clinker. Okay, so then which is stored in a particular location. Yes. Okay? And then after mixing these two particles like gypsum as well as clinker, which is sent to the cement silos, means it's like a big chambers where all the cement particles will come and store there. Okay, and then after that, with respect to a required amount of weight, they are going to make a proper bag of the cement bags, and then they are going to sell that one to the market. The procedure is clear now for everyone. If you are having any doubts about this wet process, please you can ask. Hope the things are clear. How exactly they are going to do with the manufacturing process? Certain stages you need to remember here: raw materials, and then adding to the water, it forms slurry to the clinker because of adding, I mean providing 1300 degrees Celsius to 1500 degrees Celsius of heat, and then sending that one to ball mill. Their clinker, I mean the powder form as well as gypsum is added and then sent to the cement silos. Only this much. Okay. Okay. The presentation slide is visible to everyone.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, thank you. So here only you can see that a rotary kiln, clear. So it provides certain amount of hot air and it provides certain amount of hot air as well as ground coal from this side. Okay, and here you can see the feeding part. Feeding in the sense here slurry which is going to pass. Okay, so slurry in the sense adding of water to the ingredients. Okay, this slurry will pass from this place and then it provides heat from this side. So here this paste which is going to convert to the clinker, and then here clinker will come and store to the ball mill. Okay, this is the main part of cement factory. You can see this rotary kiln, whatever we have studied now, this is the major part. It's like a heart of that entire body. Okay, so this is small information about rotary kiln. So here the heart of the cement plant and largest moving part of any machine. It is just brief introduction about this kiln, which is most important for you in your future. Okay. So this is the main part of the cement plant, and which is inclined and rotates. Here you can see it forms certain amount of inclination. Okay, from the initial part, initial part of feeding to the end part of clinker. Okay, so basically the length of this kiln will be 50 meter to 50 meter, and diameter will be 5 meter. Okay, length it may be with 50 meters, so that major part of the raw material which is going to dry in kiln only, so that the length which will get varies, and diameter will be 5 meter, and which is heated by fire jet, means by adding some fuel parts which is going to heaten up. And here the rotary kiln is long steel cylinder. Okay, and which is lined with refractory bricks. So here on top of this again a small chamber has been made just to maintain some safety precautions to that, because when we are going to provide 1300 degrees Celsius to 1500 degrees Celsius, the chances of fire it may comes happens by using that steel cylinder. Okay, so to avoid that they are going to provide certain amount, certain part of the protecting layer by using refractory bricks. Okay, so here the production capacity that is exceeding 1000 tons in a day. When we start using this rotary kiln 24 by 7, that is like getting 1000 tons in one particular day, so that time we need to provide certain safety precautions to this rotary kiln. And here the kiln is inclined with few degrees from horizontal. Here you can see from this part to this part, which is with little inclination part. Okay, so how they have provided the inclination? For they have given certain recommendations here, that is about 4 centimeter for every 1 minute, sorry, every 1 meter. So you can consider from here to here it is 1 meter, the main distance, that inclination will be from this place. Okay, so this inclination will be 4 centimeter. Okay, so when they have provided length of rotary kiln is 1 meter, according to that they are going to provide, sorry, this is 1 meter. For every 1 meter, 4 centimeter of inclination they are going to provide, that is depth. Clear? And which is rotated about its axis at a speed of about 60 to 50, 150 revolutions for every 1 hour. So you have seen that rotary kiln which is going to rotate. So that rotating speed is how much? For every 1 minute, it rotates from 60 to 150 revolutions. Okay, sorry, for every 1 hour, which is going to rotate 60 to 150 revolutions, depends upon the quantity of that slurry which is going to provide at the initial stage, and which is pulverized coal or gas is used as the source of heat. So here pulverized in the sense that addition of that fuel energy which is going to gain by providing coal or gas as the source of heat part. And here the heat is supplied from the lower end of the skin, sorry, lower end of the kiln. So here which is the lower end, from this particular end, this hot air as well as the heat which is going to supplied, okay, that is from the lower end, because while coming from starting stage to, I mean, higher end to the lower end, which turns from slurry to clinker form. Clear? And here the maximum temperature near the lower end of the kiln is about 1400 degrees Celsius to 1500 degrees Celsius. Up to this part, this is considered as the lower end part. So here you can get 1400 degrees Celsius to 1500 degrees Celsius of heat. So however it travels from this place to this place, the temperature which is going to reduce up to 1300 degrees Celsius. So at this part which is going to provide the maximum heat, so we need to concentrate more while operating these systems at the lower end of the rotary kiln. And then the upper end of the kiln, the temperature is around 150 degree Celsius. So here you can see that is the upper end part. So there you can get minimum 150 degree Celsius. Okay, from 150 degree Celsius to, which is going to heaten up, heaten up, heaten up, and then at last, which provides 1500 degrees Celsius. Means to supply from 1500 degrees Celsius to, it will reaches up to 150 degrees Celsius at the starting part of rotary kiln. Okay. This is up to the wet process. The things are clear now. In wet process, what we are going to do. Similarly,